Welcome to Math Plus, where math makes sense. Have you ever wondered why the denominators have to be the same when adding fractions? It's because the denominator tells you the size of the pieces, and you can't add pieces that are different sizes. It would be like adding one big pizza slice and one tiny pizza slice and calling them two equal slices. Well, that wouldn't even make sense, would it? So before we add fractions, we have to make the pieces the same size. And we call that the common denominator. It makes the pieces the same size so that we can add them. So let's start with this equation. 1/2, you see the pizza on the left, and 1/3 on the right. This is what that looks like. If we were to add that, this is what your equation would look like. 1/2 plus 1/3 equals 2/5. This is the wrong way to add it. And I'm going to show you why it doesn't work. We looked at the equation 1/2 plus 1/3 and decided that we're just going to add across, right? Makes sense. Let's see with a picture if it makes sense. So we do have 1/2 here, right? And we have a 1/3 here. That's what that looks like on a pizza. So let's go ahead and draw a pizza with fifths because we just determined that the answer to that is 2/5. So let's draw this pizza. That's not going to be perfect because fifths aren't always easy to do, are they? Right? So there's my pizza cut into fifths because that's my denominator. That tells me how many pieces all together. And now I'm going to color in 2 of those pieces. Now just visually, forget the math. I'm asking you to look. This is 1/2 right here, right? This is how big it is. This is how big a 1/3 is, and I'm adding them together. That means I should have more pizza whenever we add. Do you agree with that? When I add things together, I should have more of them. But if I just add those 2 fractions without changing the denominators, look what it looks like. That's not more pizza, that's actually less pizza. That's why it doesn't work. This is wrong. Let's get a big red X and put that across this. This is wrong. This is not the way that you add or subtract fractions. Now this rule only applies to adding and subtracting. Let's find out how we can make this work. I want you to remember the answer to this question. Why can't I just add fractions straight across like this? This is your answer. Because the pieces are not the same size. I know they're not the same size because the denominators are not the same. They have to be the same size so I can add them. Whenever I have a pizza cut into, or any model cut into 2 equal parts, these are larger parts. Now notice this. This is something that's sometimes hard to figure out, but this is a number 2 and my pizza piece is bigger. And when I cut that same amount, that same pizza into fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I color half of it, my pieces are smaller, right? My number's bigger. Isn't that crazy? And then if I cut them into more pieces, 6 pieces, and color in half, my denominator is even bigger. So with fractions, they are pieces of a whole number. They're not whole numbers. They're pieces of a whole number. So here I took a whole pizza and I cut it into 2. And those pieces are larger. But now I'm going to take it and cut it up into 6 pieces like I did here, and my pieces are smaller. If you need to help yourself understand this, draw pizzas and cut those pieces so that you see the more I cut it up, the smaller my pieces are. These are not whole numbers. These are fractions. Fractions are parts of a number, parts of a whole number. Fractions can only be added when the pieces are the same size. You can also use a chart that looks like this with fraction bars to help you see. If you don't like using pizzas, this could be a different way. But you see I have one whole pizza right here. and it's represented on the fraction bar like this. I can cut that pizza in half, right? So I have 1 out of 2, and it looks like this. There's 1/2 on each side. I can also cut a pizza into thirds, and on the fraction bar, it looks like this. I need 3 of them, see that, to make a whole. And you can see that with the pizza. If I want to cut my pizza into fourths, it's equivalent to a whole, right? But it's just cut up into different sizes. They're getting smaller the more I cut them up. And then we have 1/6. Cut my pizza into 6 sizes, and you can see that it still equals a whole. And then we can do 1/8. Cut my pizza up into 8 pieces. That's usually how we get them when we buy them, isn't it? But you can see here by using this fraction bar, anywhere that this line is even, like here, 1/2 is the same. See right here where there's it's the same amount. This is another way that you can visually see fractions that have the same value, okay? It's the equal amount, they're just cut up into different pieces. Whichever works better for you, use that to help you visually see your equivalent fractions. When we convert our fraction so they have a common denominator, we call that converting them. We are making the pieces the same size. We're creating an equivalent fraction. So some of the important words you want to remember is convert. I'm just converting the numbers so that they are equivalent. You're just cutting them up in different parts. So you want to remember that word equivalent fractions and converting. I'm converting my fraction so that they have a common denominator. Now, these don't have common denominators, but I want to show you that if I convert, these are converting, if I convert 1/2 to 3/6 so that I can add it to another fraction, it's equivalent. These are equivalent fractions, and this is when we're converting. So let's try our math problem that we had earlier. The math problem was 1/2 plus 1/3, and we already decided that we need to find a common denominator. So I'm going to circle those. I have to make them cut up the same way, right, to find that equivalent fraction. Now what I like to do, I'm going to write it out mathematically down here, and you can also see the pictures above, right? So I'm going to write my 1/2 plus 1/3. Now I have the pictures there as I do the math that you can see why it works, okay? I need to find a common denominator. And what I like to do is I like to write out my multiples of each number. Just count by 2, 2, 4, 6. I like to do 3 at a time because you don't need a bunch a lot of times. And then we can do 3, 6, 9. Now these are multiples. And this is the number that I want to put as my denominator. That's the same. Both of them have a multiple of 6. See that? All right, so I have my common denominator. And what I'm going to do now I have to get the number for the numerator. And when I took that 2 and made it a 6, I actually was multiplying by 3. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator up here. I have to make it an equivalent fraction. Now, before we go any further to the other fraction, I want you to look up here at the picture. 1/2 is represented right here. I have 2 parts, and I colored in half. That's a half, right? My next fraction bar, I have 3/6. So I made a bar with 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to color in 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. That's the new fraction I have, right? 3/6. It's right here. And that is also 1/2. You can see that, right? I have 3 on one side and 3 on the other. So they're equivalent fractions. Let's try the other one. I said I have a third. You can see my third up here. 1 part out of 3. I want to convert it so it's 6 parts. Okay, so everybody has 6 parts. The size of my fractions are the same, 6 parts. 3 times 2 is 6. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2. Look up here at my fraction bar. 2 parts out of 6 is the same as saying 1/3. Look, I'll break it up in 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. See that? It's equivalent. Now I can add them. It's a lot of work there, isn't it? 3 plus 2 is 5 over 6. So that's 5 pieces out of 6. And I want to go back to when we did it wrong. Let's go back and look at that again. I have my equation down here. We have decided that 5/6 is the answer, but the picture up top's not showing that. Let me show you how it works with the pizza, okay? If I turn my half into 6 pieces, now I'm going to have to use a different color here. And I'm going to color one in, right? So that's up here. And I had my 1/3. I'm going to break that up into 6 pieces as well. Both of them are cut up into 6. So 3/6 over here looks like this, and 2/6 looks like this. Now I have a pizza. I can't use that one up there. It doesn't even work. I'm going to break it up into 6 pieces. This is my answer. If I add 3/6 plus 2/6, now it looks like this. Here's 3, 4, 5. Do I have more pizza? When I added these up here, right, I added 2/6 plus 3/6. When I added them together, now I have 5/6. I have a lot more pizza, don't I? So that's what you need to do, is keep using models until you understand why that denominator has to be the same, why the size of your fractions have to be the same before you can add or subtract.